It's MVP, the Mo Vaughn podcast. It's powered by Vaughn Sports Academy and Perfect Game. I'm Will Burge. Of course, the man himself, one of the most feared hitters of all time. Mo, how we feeling? First of all, you're down there in the beautiful weather in Miami. We're starting to get a little bit of it up here in like the Northeast and Midwest, but it's a lot easier to be happy when the sun's shining all the time. I'm telling you, man. I was just down there in Florida. It felt good.
Let me tell you something. When I moved down here about 10 years ago, I was like, man, what am I going to do? I really don't like the heat. I was like, didn't have too many friends. And then I got into this whole baseball game with my son, 7 years ago. And I've adjusted to the heat. And now I never want to leave. Like, you got to pry me out of here to go do stuff. And people, I get these card shows offers, $40,000, $50,000. I'm like, bro, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, this is my base. I got VSA here. The weather's here. And I always tell people, on our worst day in Florida is better than anywhere else in the country. Right? And I fully believe that.
As you see the LA hat on, I am a Cali kid at heart, but I got to tell you, man, Florida's growing on me. Every time I go down there, I'm like, I get it now. I understand it.
Then we could be sitting next to each other.
I know. Well, my son graduates in June. You never know. I might end up down there in Miami next to you. Nellie's trying to get me to come down there too. I was just down there with him. He's trying to get me to come down there.
No taxes, boy. No taxes, baby.
I know that's a huge draw because if I go back to Cali, it's the opposite. Yeah.
You go to Cali. And I don't mind Cali, but man, it's rough.
Whole different ball game. We got a ton of stuff to talk about today. Obviously, we're going to get to some spring training stuff. The ESPN Top 100 came out. Look at that. I got a little bubble thumbs up on my side. ESPN Top 100 players came out. We're going to touch on that a little bit. But we got to start with the WBC, Mo. How much are you watching? How exciting is this? Because you remember when this thing first started and they couldn't even get pitching coaches to return phone calls to get guys on teams? This thing is electric now. Absolutely electric. Everybody's watching.
So, I got season tickets for the Marlins. And I've had pretty much every game. And I've been giving them away to all my, people in my crew. I actually have the both semifinal games, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, and I will be present. I went last year. I saw the championship game. I saw a lot of the games. I think it's tremendous. I think anytime you're able to put on your country's jersey and go out there and represent, it's. I did that once when I was in college. I played for one of the United States teams. I went to Taiwan and Taipei, Taiwan. Nothing great, but just wearing that uniform is tremendous. And this thing has been great. And what I see is look at we have, our United States team with a bunch of powerhouse individuals that know how to play the game. They're great at it. I love seeing skiing, school ball, all these dudes. I like seeing the dudes. I want to see the dudes come up and do what they do. But there's a bunch of players. There's a bunch of Angels players that are in the farm system playing on like Manny Ramirez's son. There's another.
He hit a bomb the other night.
2 bombs. Lefty and left, one off a lefty, one off a lefty. So these opportunities that these other players that are younger who are not on the team yet get to play at such a game. Look at Contreras' son, 17 years old, throwing flames. He actually was with us at the event in San Diego last year on the West Squad. So to see these young guys coming up, getting opportunities, and then the development. Look how close Dusty's got that Nicaraguan team. They were 1 pitch away from getting their first win. This thing is great. I just think that they should expound upon it, try to do it more. Maybe not more, but do it in a better time. Maybe do it at the All-Star. Extend the All-Star. I heard this from one of my GM friends. Extend the All-Star breakout. Then guys are much more healthy. Everybody who's not playing maybe gets a 2-week, reprieve. And then now you got your good guys going and they're ready to go. Wasn't my idea. But I've heard this from one of my GM friends. And, because his thing was guys aren't ready to pitch yet. Guys aren't in the flow yet. If you and listen, I know we need to promote our game, but damn it, this WBC is awesome. It's awesome.
Awesome. You know what's funny is that's a great idea because I don't know if you saw the NHL did that Four Nations thing. They did it at the All-Star
Awesome.
break.
I love that. I love hockey. You know that.
Oh, yeah, amazing, right? And I think you're onto something there because in the beginning, I don't want to say the U.S. was mailing it in the first couple of years, but they weren't really buying in, and it took the Pacific in those Latin countries. They bought in instantly, and the USA had to say, "All right, we better step our game up because these guys they're coming for our throat." Right? I think that if you put this thing at the All-Star break when guys are really in a groove, when guys can be stretched all the way out, people are a little nervous about having their bell cow pitchers in high leverage situations this early in the season. You throw it at the All-Star break, all of a sudden this thing heats up even more, which is crazy to me because it's already red hot.
Listen, I look on both sides. I've been in ownership situations, and you look at your players and like, listen, we don't want this guy to get hurt. And then how do we do this so everybody's comfortable? And I think that's kind of what and MLB's got the drawbacks of why they want to keep the all, and I get all that, but for me, everybody's Dominican, Puerto Rico, Canada. All these countries are getting better and better. And we need to understand that we got to continue to get better and better and better and give our best guys the opportunity to perform at the highest level without injury. And I think that may be one of the things. Like I told you, not my idea. So I was talking to one of my friends, and he was like, listen, man, I wouldn't mind my guys going out there, but let them go out there after they've gotten, everybody's strong. We don't have to worry about things. And I can see where you're coming from as a general manager.
Yeah, and I think the intensity of this thing is already so high, right? Like these games are intense. The crowd's into it. The teams are into it. Guys are barking, celebrating, all that stuff. But you put it at the All-Star break and guys are
and the fans are partying. Listen,
partying.
Don't get me wrong. I'm one of those old school keep your head down guys as a player. It wasn't because I was trying to not disrespect the game or not disrespect the players or the teams. It was more of, this is a marathon season. You can't get up too high and you can't get up too low. You have to stay on this steam ship plane, and you got to keep your mind. But damn it, these guys are partying when they're doing well, and it's great. It's great. We all got to evolve and get better and realize, smile. You can have fun. You could do all these. You can celebrate, and you're not disrespecting anything. It's just where we are right now. Let's go with it.
Yeah, the young kids are having fun, and you brought up one of the coolest storylines of this thing so far. A really young kid, 17-year-old Joseph Contreras. He was a PG All-American. We actually just put out a day in the life with him. We got to follow him around at Perfect Game for his final high school start before the WBC. I mean, this is a 100-mile-an-hour flamethrower kid, 17 years old, going up against that USA lineup. You just don't get stories like that in Major League Baseball, right? I mean, the closest thing you get is maybe a late season call up and the Dodgers happen to be in town and they got to go up in Otani. But that lineup, that USA lineup, can you, take me into the mind of a 17-year-old kid going up against that lineup and then sawing off Judge's bat, getting out of that jam and that. I mean, that was crazy.
Well, I love what Aaron Judge said, and what a guy to represent. I've always listened. This guy's a Yankee guy. I ain't supposed to like Yankee guys because it's just that's not what we're not supposed to do. But if there's one of my favorite players is the captain. I remember when he came up, and the other guy is just the humility and the humanity of Aaron Judge. You kind of pull for him, and he's just said it. It was the makeup. He was standing on the mound like, I'm going to shove this ball up your butt. And he went and did it. And that's what you need. Us big leaguers who've played in past and present, we can tell if you're ready or not just by your presence and how your mound presence and how you do certain things. So I just think that those opportunities wouldn't happen before. Now with the expansion of the game, people are coming in on the backside of with their, where they were born, their parents were born, and getting these opportunities at such a young age and doing well. Like I said, Manny Ramirez's son, 2 bombs, lefty off a righty. These guys I think they're in the Angels system. The Angels got a lot of things to look forward to. It's a pitcher on Great Britain that's in the Angels system. And these guys are performing at that high. they say that hype is crazy over there. I can't, I know it is. I've been to it. I can't wait to get there for the quarter, semis, and championship game. It's going to be great.
So I was down in Orlando. We were shooting a new series called Uncommitted, which I'm super excited about. We're kind of, at Perfect Game, we highlight a lot of the top players like the Contrerases of the world. We're starting to follow some guys who are fighting to get a D1 offer, right? They're like kind of on the border, coming off an injury, maybe undersized. So we're down there filming that. And I was hungry. I go out to get some food, went to Twin Peaks for food, obviously, just for
Twin Peaks, man. Listen,
it's great food there, man.
Great food. Great place. Good.
Great place. But I thought what was cool was the entire place, when Contreras took the mound, it started slowly. Like, obviously, I was there to watch that. We live in this world. I was hyped. I knew it was going to happen during that game. But slowly but surely, tables started to turn, and everybody started to watch. And everybody's tapping each other on the shoulder going, this kid's 17. That's a 17-year-old kid up there pitching against USA. It's cool, I think, between the WBC and MLB The Show, the video game, what you're starting to get is these young kids turning eyeballs back to baseball because it's cool and it's exciting again. Something that for a while, for whatever reason, they didn't think it was. Those two things, I think, have really gravitated kids back towards the game of baseball, which is awesome.
Listen, I think us, PG, we really, focus on that. We focus on what our young people, what we think our young people do and want, because that's what we have to attract. We have to keep growing our game with the younger minds. And if they, we look at those things, what are our young boys wanting, and how, whether it's the colored shoes or the color, everything's neon, everything's crayon, different things. You have to capitalize on that to keep our game where it needs to be. And all you have to do is take a measuring rod of young people, and you'll figure out what you need to do. But I think the main thing is the fun of it, the partying of it. What we called back in the day disrespect, it's now the way the game is played, and we need to like go with it. We need to go with it because that's where it's at. And you see in this event, people are having fun playing the game.
Yeah, and you still have some of that pageantry to it, right? I mean, I think, did you see Santoria from the Czech team got the standing ovation in Japan for his time with playing for that country? I mean, that's just such a cool moment. Japan is so into baseball; they understand, the gravity and of that moment in his career, and it's cool to see. I think, like I said, I think in the beginning, USA was kind of sleeping on this thing. And now I think even as fans, we watch those other stadiums. We're like, all right, we better bring it down in Houston. We better bring it in Florida because Japan's going nuts every single inning.
Well, listen, I have so much respect for Japan just by the way they play their game. You hear stories. I've never been. I would love to go over there and just take in what they do and how they do it. And, they're coming. They're coming with it. What are they? They're going for their third in a row. And don't think that at one point they're gonna shut down. They're not. But you're right, man. Like, we have got to give ourselves the opportunity to put the best players up. And now you're looking for, like, I'm checking my phone, all day. What do we do? You're looking for, you're looking for what that USA uniform has done. And it's just great. And I think we need to just keep enhancing it, keep trying to push our best guys forward to be out there on the stage.
Yeah, USA's leading their pool right now. They have not locked themselves into the quarterfinals yet, but it looks like they probably will. That was a huge win last night over Mexico. They're 3-0 in their pool. And I thought what was really cool.
It's not like guaranteed. They got to win this game. And if it's a 3-way tie, it's the tie between the three people that are tied, not about what else you did. So that other game that they blew out somebody, that doesn't matter. It's they got to win this game today. They got to win. So, it's not a shoo-in. We got to play well.
How'd you feel about Skubal, who just openly admitted, he said, I came here thinking this was kind of an all-star game thing. I was going to do my one start. I was going home. Then he's like, man, maybe I don't want to go home. In fact, maybe I want to pitch again, which I know the Tigers were not feeling. They're like, we had a plan. Let's not break from the plan. The Skubal admitting, like, hey, I didn't realize how intense this was going to be, how much I was going to be into it. And he said, one way or the other, I'm staying with the guys. I don't know if I'm a pitch, but I'm going to stay with the guys. I love that.
I was counting on that. I was counting on that action happening with all of the guys. Because I was playing in like I said, Taipei, Taiwan in 1988. No fans in the stands. And there's just a proud moment of wearing the USA uniform. It means something. You play a little harder. You play a little tougher. You focus a little bit more. And I figured I go, all these guys that are going to go now that haven't been, they're going to get so juiced about it, they're not going to want to go home. I heard, oh, he's going to come in and throw a start and he's done. He's not going to leave. He's not going to want to leave. He's not going to want to leave. And that's what needs, and that's what we need these guys to come back to our to our league and be like, yo, man, you get a chance to go play for USA. You better do it. I'll tell you one guy who was always understanding of that was Roger Clemens. He always knew the importance of putting on that uniform. Roger would do anything to play on a USA team all the time, anytime. He recognized early what it meant. And I think, he didn't need to go to understand it. He understood it before. And I think now there's going to be a lot of talk. Hey man, this was a great experience. We need to get our best guys. And the venue is going to make them stay there. And that's what you wanted. All by themselves. They ain't got to talk to anybody.
You know, it's funny. We pushed out that clip of when Clemens was on with you, and he was talking about, look, I don't need to be in the Hall of Fame. I didn't play baseball to be in the Hall of Fame. I played to play with those guys to win games. And that meant a lot of people paid attention to the Hall of Fame part of it. But if you pay attention to the other part of it where he's talking about, I played to go to battle with my guys every single day and try to win baseball games with my guys. That's that mentality you're talking about, right? And once you get there and you're in the trenches and you got USA across your chest, how you walk away from that and be like, oh, I could just go back and they just would be on their own. I just don't think anybody can. You get caught up in the moment.
Listen, that's really what it's all about. Listen, I'm sure Roger wants to be in the Hall of Fame. He's such a competitor, but I can guarantee you this. There's more stories of, I hated Roger Clemens when I played against him, but I loved him when I played with him than anything. You could talk to the Yankees who couldn't stand facing him. When they had him on the Yankees, they were like, Mo, I know what you're talking about. I said, you damn right. You want that guy. Pedro, you want those guys. You want those guys in your back pocket when you need them, because they're going to step up and you'll never forget it. I got stories of Roger Clemens right now. I told you, when I was in Minnesota in a 1-0 game, somebody threw the ball close to me. And he was on the mound. And you know, Minnesota, when at that time they're playing in the old dome, all you got to do is get with somebody on base, and they start hitting the ball on the ground, and the ball starts traveling all over the place. And that's how they beat you. He drilled somebody in the bottom of the 8th. Matt Lawton, bang! I go, Roger, what are you doing? It's a 1-run game. I don't care what the runs are. The ball doesn't come near you. And I think that's what people respect, and that's what the players respect. We want that. And it's never forgotten. It's always a wink of an eye. You don't got to talk about it. But when Roger Clemens walks in the room, and that type of guy walks in the room, respect is given. It doesn't need to even be talked about. It's always all going to be there.
We're getting some of that attitude here in the WBC too. Did you see Arozarena come to the plate, try to dap up Cal Raleigh, who was catching? Cal said, "Nah, man, this ain't that. I'm not dapping you up at the plate. It ain't happening." Then Arozarena goes at him in the post-game interview. Those guys got to be with each other all season. But look, tensions are high, man. You got your country in your chest. I love that. Absolutely love it from both sides.
Well, you know, is the example of that is the hockey guys. You know, they you know. You read about the closeness of the Panthers and all the great teams, especially you talk about the Panthers because, you know, I read an article about how they all just quietly do their jobs and they go out and win. And they got the agitators and they got the guys that they know exactly what they're doing. But when they're on opposite sides, they compete. And they will fight it out. And that's what needs to happen at this game. There's nothing wrong with it. They're going to be friends in the locker room. But here, we're on different sides, bro. It is what it's. Ain't nothing to talk about. We'll talk after this is over.
Mo, I also got swept up in the heat of this thing. I got to show you something. I got something. So I had a couple pints at the Twin Peaks. Got a little excited about the WBC. I went on eBay. Look at this.
Oh, that's sweet.
I'll be rocking this USA windbreaker. Now I might have overpaid for it a little bit. It's a throwback from the 90s. I got it off eBay, but I was excited when it came, and I'll be rocking this all weekend for bracket play in WBC.
I think I got to get me one of those or something like it. That's hot. I need something
It's
like
tough.
that. That's beautiful.
The 90s like windbreaker starter jacket stuff, man, that stuff's untouchable. Untouchable.
Yeah,
That's the height of fashion in my mind.
Yep.
All right, so we got spring training going on as well. Some interesting storylines going on. Obviously, everybody's starting to warm up. Everybody's kind of paying attention to WBC. A lot of the big names are over there. But there was a couple things that have happened in spring training I want to get your thoughts on here. First of all, have you did spring training in both Arizona and Florida, right? Did you do both?
Correct.
Yeah. What do you think is the difference as a player between the two places? Because I've covered both. But like as a player, is there a huge difference between one spring training league or the other?
The only thing that was different for me is I was such a routine based player. Because when you play in Florida, there's distance between the ballparks and the teams. So when you arrive, you take batting practice on the field. And then you go play like a normal game. Because the distances are so close in Arizona, you kind of take batting practice at your home field, then you get in the car and you ride to the game. I found it difficult to get ready like that when I was over there. I mean, I remember my first spring training, I hit one home run. I just couldn't get loose. It felt like I couldn't get loose. I went to Arizona, and wow, what an expansion of a city. Like it is huge, and now everything's strategic. You got the West Coast pretty much on the west side, in the AZ, side, and you got the East Coast teams and a little bit of the Midwest on the in the Grapefruit League, and everything's kind of streamlined. But yeah, man, that's the difference is because the parks are so close in the Cactus League, you take more BP at home and then get in the car and go play versus the Grapefruit League. You travel, get off the bus like a normal game, warm up, take your BP and start the game. That was the difference for me.
Interesting. How about like because I know in AZ, because I covered the Indians then, Guardians now. I think I did 3 or 4 spring trainings. And the one thing I found really interesting was because everything's so close, when that off day syncs up between a couple teams, them boys are out. Everybody's out in Scottsdale, right? Everybody's out there. They're blowing off some steam. They've been working every single day in the heat. They're playing every day. Is it like that in Florida too? Or is everybody kind of like stuck in their own pockets of the state because you're so far apart?
We're a little bit stuck in the pockets. I mean, I played early was Winter Haven. Then it was Fort Myers. And then I went to LA. I went to Arizona. And then I came back to Port St. Lucie. So there's more, you're right. When you got an off day in Cactus League, Scottsdale is right there. Everybody's partying. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I didn't need a reason to party. I was always trying to have some fun. Versus when you're in the Cactus League, in the Grapefruit League, you got to really travel to get there and pick your spots when you want to do things. Yeah.
I got a funny story. I was out and covering spring training. This has got to be, I don't say maybe like 17 or 16, something like that, somewhere in that realm. And I'm out there covering the Guardians, and I'm doing the day-to-day reporting, and I'm also doing like network shows with Tom Hamilton, who just a really famous play-by-play guy, just got put into the Baseball Hall of Fame. But there was an off day, and a bunch of the Guardians guys and some other teams, I'm not going to say any names, were going out that day. So we go out, and it was like early afternoon. We all go out, and we're starting to get after it. Next thing you know, I'm jumping in a Sprinter van, and we're going to Vegas. I mean, Vegas, yeah. It's not a close ride. You're going 3-4 hours.
It does it in the damn AC blowing off or something happening. Like, wow.
So we're in a Sprinter van. We head to Vegas, and we got after it. I mean, these guys were getting, and they all, in middle of the night, they jump back in the Sprinter. The driver's driving us back. I got up the next day and went to the facility. I mean, my eyes are beet red. I can barely form sentences. I got to do this network show with Tom Hamilton. You'd have thought these guys got 12 hours of sleep. They bounce right back. No problem. You'd have never known these guys were out. I'm like, these sickos, man. I don't know how they do that because I was struggling the next day.
Listen, man, it's in our DNA that after the game, some of us need to go and wind down, and we're going to have a couple cocktails to do that and some establishments. It's just that's what we do. It's kind of like been passed down. And then the goal is to be there the next day, no matter what. You gotta show up and be ready. And let's just understand something. It's always, I look at myself and go, man, maybe if I got a little bit more sleep when I played, I'd probably be a a better player, if I got a little bit more sleep. But that's our mentality. Our mentality is, I don't think we're not quite like hockey players. Hockey players are very tough. They go back in the back and get stitched up and their teeth knocked out, and they're back on the ice, within 5 minutes. But baseball players, we understand clearly that the biggest thing that we need to be available for our team every day. And I think that's just a mindset and a mentality of us baseball guys.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back, right? I mean, there's the legend of the Wade Boggs 107 beer flight back in the 90s. I mean, you go all the way back. We got a bar here in Cleveland called Holtz. And Holtz got pictures of Babe Ruth all over the walls. Apparently that was his bar when he would come play in Cleveland. And they tell legends of having to drag his ass out of there, drunk as a skunk. Yeah. He'd go hit bombs. I mean, this is, like you said, it's nothing new. But you show up and you play.
Listen, it's when you're playing in some of these hotbed situations, however people deal with stress is different, man. Some, I could hang out a little bit and come to the ballpark and work. Was it probably, as I look back and I'm older and I'm 58 years old, I'd probably be like, man, I should have got a little bit more sleep. But that's how some people operated. Some people needed to blow off steam in that way, and they were ready to go each day. I'll tell you what, though, anybody that understands the game and understands what being a team is, as long as you're ready to play on, by the time that thing says 7:05, nobody really cares what you do.
So I want to go through this ESPN top 100 players list. And look, I guess the way they did this year was a little different than in the past. They basically polled X amount of people who cover the league, and they took the average of everybody's rankings 1 through 100. They put them together in this list. Look, this stuff really doesn't mean anything, but I know guys take it personally when they get rated a little bit too low. Like, did you ever have an instance like that in your career where somebody wrote an article or said something, you're like, hey, man, I'm better than that dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, man, they were always writing stuff in Boston. I tell people all the time, when we lose, it was Bo's too fat. When, they were always looking for an angle to blame me regardless. I could be hitting 330 with 40 home runs and 120 RBIs, and it would be my fault why we were losing. Somehow, some way. So those type of articles come. I think now, man, there's so much media coverage. There's so much, social media. There's so many. Everybody's trying to have the top story. I'm not sure, the top 100 players. I don't really remember that coming out when I was playing. I'm sure it was there, and maybe I wasn't looking because I was just always focused on, man, I got to get up, I got to get ready, and I got to drive these runs in to help our team win, regardless of what anybody says. But now, with the game, and you even said it, with the video games, all these different references and all these different, different strategies and levels, and this stuff is right at the forefront. So these top 100 players come out all the time, and look at it. They do it in the NFL. They do it for all this other stuff. It's here because everybody's looking for these stories to write.
Yeah, you're looking for clicks. And I'll tell you what, these type of articles always get my clicks because I love to see where guys fall. And I'm just going to run through the top 6 real quick. You tell me if you have any issues here. I got Ohtani 1, Judge 2, Bobby Witt Jr. 3, Skubal 4, Juan Soto 5, Paul Skeens 6. Any qualms with that?
No.
It feels fair.
It feels fair with that. You got Bobby Witt does everything.
Oh wait, that play last night. That play is short, insane.
It's the speed, the speed, power, all of that. Listen, Ohtani's just, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if he's just like robot or something. Like he's, you know what it is? He's the guy that understands his body and mechanics and what he's got to do to get the barrel to the ball consistently all the time. It's like machine-like. And I think Soto, listen, anybody can say what they want about Soto, Mets, whoever. All I know is when the playoffs come and he was in that Yankee uniform, he stepped up and he delivered. And that's what he's getting paid for, to deliver in those big moments. And damn it, he knows how to do it. And, Screwball is just, I'm glad I'm home. I don't got to face him. This is great. I'm sitting down there watching him. I look at his arm slot, little 3/4 coming down, like the ball's moving all over the place, fast, the hard stuff's coming in and the sliders coming away. Like, God damn, that's so tough. But no, I got no problems with those first six. Those guys are on point.
All right, so let's go 7 through 10 here, because I think this is where it gets interesting. I'm not sure. I don't know if you have a problem with Cal Raleigh at 7. I know everybody loves Cal. It's tough to find a catcher who can mash like that. But there's a lot of people who are, I don't say up in arms, but questioning at 8, Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet at 8, ahead of Julio Rodriguez and Ronald Acuna Jr. at 9 and 10. Do you think Crochet is a little too high here? Because I feel like that's been kind of a common theme between people who saw this list.
Wow. Listen,
I just don't know if I can put him above Acuna. I love Crochet. I mean, he's a beast. Don't get me wrong. He's huge human being. I mean, saw your bat off, but above Acuna is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, listen, that is, me. I'm position player oriented. Because that's because we're going out there every day, and I think that needs to be understood too. But yeah, I mean, Ronald Acuna Jr. when healthy is one of the best players to. He could be in the top 6, if he's healthy. There could be some discussion there, but Crochet is a great pitcher also. But there definitely could be some discussion in that 7 through 10.
A guy who here in Cleveland, people always say is way underrated is Jose Ramirez. And I feel like the last couple of years, he's starting to get the rating he deserves. They got him at 12 on this list. I feel that's about right. I think, people scream it here in Cleveland. Jose Ramirez is underrated. Jose Ramirez is underrated. But I'll tell you, Mo, I mean, like when we had Tito on and you guys had that conversation about Jose, I feel like people are starting to give him his flowers and he's right about where he belongs on this list.
I really like him. I think he comes to play every game, switch hitter, plays a great third base, timely, no excuse. He's right there. Listen, he's tapping on that top 10 door right now, no doubt. He's tapping on it, or he could be in it also. Listen, there's so many great players out there. Like this list can be peeled back in many, many different ways. But that guy right there he's every bit as good as anybody on the list.
How about this stat? In the last 10 years, he's got a 54.9 WAR, and the only 2 guys who have a higher WAR than him is Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge. Jose Ramirez. That's a pretty crazy stat.
That's who's those 2 guys. Look at those 2 names. He's rocking with. That says it all. And I think, listen to me. Listen, a lot of this is who, the writers do this, who you like, and this is what's wrong. Like, this is what's wrong with some of that stuff. And it's not everybody, but this is what's wrong with it. Like, somehow, some way, let the players vote it out. They know who's who, and you're going to get a real reading on what's what. But let me tell you something. I'll take him on my team anytime because I know one thing: he's going to be there, and he's not going to make excuses if things go wrong.
So, if the players are voting on this, I want to get your thoughts on young guys making a jump into "quote unquote" the best players in the league without even playing a full season because they got. I mean, these are 2 very special young players. We obviously expect huge things from, but PCA, Crow Armstrong at 22. And Roman Anthony at 33. Neither guy's played a full season yet. If it was just MLB players voting, do you think those young guys would get voted that high this quickly?
I do not. And I think for them, it makes it tough on them because there's guys that are like, man, you kind of got to earn your stripes. And I believe that. Listen, you come up your rookie year, you have a great year. There's going to be a book put out on you on what you can do and what you can't do. Then you got to come back and prove it. And then you're going to get to, a couple, 3 years, you're going to get to an arbitration year, and you're going to have to prove that. And then, 3, 4, after that, 3, 4, 5, you're going to have to prove, are you a real bona fide free agent? And that's the one thing that's different in our game is it doesn't matter like who your dad is or what your lineage is. The numbers don't lie. You have to go out and play the game. I don't care who you are and what you do. You have to go out and do it. And I think for me, I love being able to project what somebody's going to be. And you're like, man, this guy's got the ability, but it's just a projection. I think if I were in this situation, I'd want to see some more year game information and stats that show me that this is what you're doing. Not to say that they can't do it, but they would have to show me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think if you talk to just MLB players, they'd say, hey, great young players, a lot of ability, love to have them on my squad. I don't know if they're 22 and 33 in the league right now. Some of these guys who've been doing it for 10, 12 years, they should probably be in those spots. I think that's what players would say.
Because what's mastered in that top slot is the mentality to never to not falter when things go wrong. The reason why those guys are in that top 10, 12, 15 spot is because they've already proven that they know how to withstand, adversity and get through it and still be great when it's time and be consistent. And that's what we don't know about anybody that's never played. And that needs to be found out about.
You brought up free agency. I thought one more interesting one that kind of jumped out at me was at 38, Bo Bichette, who just went through that really weird free agency. For a guy with that bat, with that ability, we've seen him do it at the plate. It was a kind of a weird thing. He's got a chance now. I know he signed that deal. He's got a chance where it could end up being a 1-year deal. If he absolutely mashes, he could basically re-enter free agency at the end of this year. Bo Bichette at 38 felt a little low to me. Does that feel low to you, or is that about right?
It feels low to me too. This guy's a great player. Now, listen, they're rating him low because of injury. I think, you know what I mean. Well, we don't know, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what the guy has done, and Toronto's going to miss his ass. I'll tell you that right now. And the Mets, he ain't going to be afraid to go there and play. Like you don't have to worry about Bo Bichette walking into this, the New York media and being disturbed. The dude's dad was great. He's been trained well. He comes from baseball lineage again. He's gonna go out there and play to his capabilities. And I think he's gonna be a great addition for the Mets.
In your time in the league, is there a guy or maybe a couple guys that you played with that you thought were just like grossly undervalued, underrated? You're just like, man, this guy's a dude, and he's just not getting, his just deserved attention that from media, from fans, all that type of stuff. Is there anybody that jumps out at you?
Man, I think about that sometimes. Kenny Lofton was one that I thought was really great, and they always were backing up with great players at the time, and they always thought that was the reason. But damn it, that dude was on base to start all of these rallies and get things going and steal bases and make plays. And I think people forget that. Like, how could you forget that guy? That was, I had to face that guy all the time, like playing in Boston, like playing in the Central. I had to go in there when they were freaking beating that drum all the time. Like, it was a hard place to play, but he was, at the forefront of all that. And I think everybody always looked at, it was Vizquel, or it was Alomar, or it was Baerga, or it was Sandy Alomar, or it was Albert Bell, or it was Eddie Murphy, or it was somebody else more than the leadoff guy that was always on base, and they were doing everything.
Yeah, and he was climbing fences. He had gold chains. He had swag back then too.
Getting on base, causing havoc, and then taking stuff and keeping it in the ballpark. I was like, dude, you knew when you're playing him, you got to hit the ball out of the ballpark center field. He's going to catch it.
Yep.
That's like the worst. You know what I mean? Like you got to hit the ball over the fence, or because if it's in the park, he's going to catch it. I think he was one of the guys that really never got his due. And that maybe was because, Ricky, no one could be Ricky Henderson, but damn it, there's still a level that he was, and I just felt that he was that great.
If you're new to the podcast, go back and listen to the episode with Kenny. It was great conversation. Him talking about being a multi-sport athlete too, and how he could have played in other leagues. Yeah, his mom and was his grandma? Was it mom or grandma whistling from the stands? Was blind. Yeah. Great. I mean, just unbelievable story. I thought that was one of the best. And obviously, I'm a Cleveland guy, so a little biased, but I thought that was one of the best conversations you've had on this podcast.
And then there's one more, and I think that he just got caught up in a bad realm with the Red Sox. And it was just a bad, Boston always does some crazy stuff, but there was nobody better in his heyday than Nomar Garciaparra. No one. I'm talking about coming out, being aggressive, hitting the ball on a line, running, hitting, throwing, stealing bases, triples, home runs. And I think everybody tries to blame things like he was the reason why they didn't win, when damn it, he was one of the best they ever had. So I think, Nomar Garciaparra is another one that just doesn't really get his due. And I know he got hurt, but in his heyday, no one could do the things that he could do with the bat, with his feet, with the glove, with the power. There was nobody like him.
Another great conversation. Go check out that episode as well. That was a really, really good one. Before we get out of here, Mo, I got a little fun thing. You know how I like to throw a little curveball at you. I know you got something. I got something. This is an easy one. I'm telling you, this is an easy one. I know you like to eat. I like to eat. I'm a food guy. And I want you to power rank these 4 ballpark classics, right? We're just going straight food here. You ready?
All right.
You go 1 through 4. Rank these for me. Peanuts, hot dog, nachos, Cracker Jacks.
Damn. Peanuts, hot dogs, nachos, Cracker Jacks. Hot dog, Cracker Jacks, peanuts, nachos.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I love nachos. Don't get me wrong. A helmet full of nachos is great, but I'm the other 3 I'm taking 10 times out of 10 before nachos.
Like you get me I could eat a whole bunch of dogs in a row, like boom. And then if I want to, I'm going to be spilling. If I got the nachos, I'm going to be spilling stuff on myself. I'm going to come up with yellow stuff everywhere. And then, you're always looking for those. You're always looking for those peanuts in the Cracker Jacks. So peanut. Hot dog. Hot dogs first.
Yeah, 100%. And so there's something about a hot dog at a ballpark just hits different. Nothing like it. All right, Mo, you got anything else? That's all I got on my list for today. That was easy. That was fast.
Listen, everybody, catch this WBC. Feel the nation. Feel that USA jersey. Guys out there, we're pulling for you. Keep it going. You're gonna be in the battle of your life, but we are pulling for you to be successful. Go USA.
Go USA. There it is. Starter jacket back in the screen. Go subscribe to the YouTube. You can see the starter jacket. Well, I'll talk to you next week, brother.
All right, bro.